Well, what do you know? We're back with another one, ladies and gentlemen. And today we're going to be discussing top CTP picks for all your favorite characters, or at least all the meta characters in the game. And we're also going to be, I'm going to be kind of switching up the dynamic a little bit. And we're going to also going to be discussing characters who have kind of fallen off, characters who were once meta, but just because of power creep, they are no longer as deserving of that precious CTP you have given them, and a different character would certainly prove to be a better use with said CTP. And so, unlike the last video that I did talking about CTPs, as a matter of fact, I think that was the video that I introduced this list. I'm not going to go through in great detail and talk about each individual character and why I put them there. We're going to be kind of picking and choosing basically all the new characters that have been placed in the game since let's see, the Black Order update, I believe, was the last time that I actually did this list. So we have quite a few characters, quite a few uniforms, some new characters, this and that, and I made some changes, some small swaps here and there, and then like I said, we're going to be discussing the characters that are undeserving of the CTP you bestowed upon them. So let's start with Judgment here. So Judgment is exactly the same, and keep in mind, this is my opinion, and even when I make this list, there's some characters where I'm like, okay, they could certainly be swapped, like Rogue and Torch. They could be swapped, depending on who you like better. Different game modes that are more important to you, like Torch has more one-shot value, right? So Danger Room Extreme, even like GBR, Galactus, that sort of thing. And his rotation, I think he's probably even a little bit easier to play. So, and then Mephisto and Supergiant, those two could be interchanged. All right, so that's exactly the same. Let's pop over to Rage here. So Captain Marvel is now at the very tippity top of Rage, and I have to give the disclaimer for Rage. Okay, it seems as though if you're approaching 8 to 10% Pierce on cards, Rage takes a hit. It's just not as good. So characters that can only operate with Rage, they're not as good anymore. It's just the natural consequence of Pierce and Rage and the mixture of the two. And now Energy and Judgment, just they exceed with the Pierce. They just seem to benefit from the Pierce more than Rage actually does. So Captain Marvel, her pure value right now is squad battle, and for me personally, Odin has like no value. He has no place on my account. He's completely fallen off. And it's only because you can use Rage. If you could use an Energy or a Judgment, I think he'd be towards the top of every list. That's just my opinion. So Captain Marvel is now placed at the top of the list here because of her squad battle value. She can score, I've heard 10 million. 10 million. I haven't actually had much playtime with her. Speaking of which, I still got to get to Captain Marvel video. I'll be getting to that soon. But now she is at the very top of Rage because of her squad battle. Okay, now Insight. So Insight, I have Taskmaster. I moved Taskmaster up this list here because he is tier 3. Now you can use him in World Boss Legend, and it's an additional support, and it's huge. That is huge. Any character with support that you use in World Boss Legend is a double thumbs up for me. I wish they would have more in each category, right, as far as the requirements or restrictions, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now moving on to Regen. We have a few new additions to Regen here, most notably Mr. Blue Marvel. Now he's not as good as Sentry, right? He can certainly do it for you on your account. The thing is, he needs a regen. According to my testing, he needs a regen in order to operate in Timeline, Alliance Tournament, probably even Alliance Conquest. I didn't test him out there, but I would imagine it's going to be the same result. So he's definitely very good. I think he's slightly underwhelming for some people. He's like Alliance Tournament super meta. From the matches I've seen with Blue Marvel on the team, he destroys, and Alliance Conquest as well, so he has huge value there. That's why I put him in up at number 2. And who else do we have on Regen? So I actually have Elena. I put Elena over here on the list because where is she? So I have her right below Jean. Man, she is so good in Timeline. I haven't had a chance to really test her out in Alliance Conquest, but in Timeline, you give her double supports, and dude, she's soloing the matches. Like, she's winning, I'd say 90% of the matches. Like, if I ran her 10 times, she'd win 9 out of 10. it's pretty amazing with this uniform. She could also operate with authority as well, and she was winning some matches with an energy. I feel like she can operate with like just about anything. She could do it well for you, but Regen seems to be Regen or authority. Those were really close to my testing. And then we also have some other additions, right? So down here I put honorable mentions. I have Spectrum down here, and then at the very bottom I have Quasar and America Chavez. So I haven't had a chance to test Quasar, but I really think she has some value there. I think she's going to be better than Spectrum. Like, Spectrum actually surprised me. She's good. She's not as good as Elena. Honestly, Spectrum, she'd probably do it better than Dormammu, Odin, and Jewel for timeline, but I don't think anyone's really going to use her there. I think, most people are going to use her for Alliance Conquest, and I think for Alliance Conquest, like someone like Dormammu or even Odin might be better there. I'm not positive on that. That's why I put her down in honorable mentions. But Elena, she's certainly a viable timeline contender. For my testing, like, I'll even, put my money where my mouth is. I'll put her, that'll be my timeline team. Elena with double supports. I've done it before. I've done it. Let us mosey on down to Mr. Energy here. So there's actually a lot of new additions to Energy. And it's, again, a natural consequence of Rage just taking a hit from Pierce, or just not benefiting as much as Energy or Judgment. Like, I don't even test characters in World Boss Legend with Rage. That's just my impression of it, just to let you guys know. So yeah, I put Falcon at number 3 on this list. Now, you know what? I don't know why Call is above Moonstone here. I don't think that's right. I think Call can probably be moved to below Falcon. Let me fix this. Okay, that's better. Okay, this is my honest opinion here. So I think Moonstone is still pretty much at the top with Energy. She's just so good. She has not officially been dethroned. The thing is this: I can't test Moonstone and Falcon against each other. Honestly, I think Falcon would keep up with her. I don't want to go as far as say be better than her, but he might. He just might. The thing is, for the restrictions, Falcon, at least where I'm at, he seems to be more useful. The only thing with Falcon is, man, it's tough to keep his proc right. If you're using his tier 3 on every other rotation, it's really tough to keep his proc on his tier 3 rotation. It wants to activate early, and it can give you a bit of a headache. You have to get really good and precise with it. So it's a timing thing with him. But yeah, even the top 4 characters could be swapped around a little bit. Moonstone, Falcon, Proxima, and Call. They could totally be interchanged, but Falcon is very good for World Boss Legend, and I think Proxima, she has more uses in other places, like, so Moonstone and Proxima have more one-shot potential than Falcon and Call. The thing is, Call has one-shot potential, but for Danger Room, you have to wait for his Awaken skill, and it just takes too long. If a Moonstone or even a Proxima, like I'll one-shot with Proxima. I have to imagine that's not going to be the case for everybody's account, but she is very good for World Boss Legend as well. I can't shed my praises enough for even though those top 4 characters there. And then I added Quasar and Elena. Now, I tested Quasar against Gambit, and she's better. She was like 20 seconds faster on a stage higher for Null. So I did Gambit on 24, Quasar on 25. Quasar was 20 seconds faster, both with Mighty Energies. So it seems like she's better than Gambit. Just from my testing, they're both paywall characters. And Elena, the thing is, I would have loved to test Elena, except she has a Mighty Regen on now, and I can't do that testing. But she might even be faster than Gambit as well. I could say certainly for Mephisto, she's going to be faster than Gambit. For Null, I'm not sure, but if I had to hedge my bets, I would say that she actually is. And Quasar, I don't know if she's going to be faster than Corvus for Null. That's some more testing I have to do, but I feel like most people have a Rage on Corvus for ABX. All right, now moving on to Destruction here. There weren't any changes except I moved Elena up a couple spaces. That's pretty much it for Destruction. Let's shake and bake over to Authority. Okay, so not too many changes over here either. I moved Elena to the very top of the list here. I think she is most deserving of an authority. If you have it, like I said, authority and regen, they were so close. I had a mighty regen. This is a mighty regen with 50% penetration. Was basically on the same plane as authority. And then I threw Spectrum in here as well. She wasn't doing as well with authority as she was for regen, but I think like if you have spare authorities and you're looking for characters to put them on, she wouldn't be a bad choice for like Alliance Conquest. And then all the way down here I have Quasar with a question mark because I'm still yet to test her. I'm actually anxious to get to that testing. It's just right now I'm using her in World Boss Legend with the energy. She's doing okay. Nothing too crazy. I bet if I put a Brilliant on her though, because of all the hits, she might do some real work. Because I feel like that's the same thing with Gambit. He doesn't impress me with a Mighty, but I know some people that have a Brilliant on him, and they used them to clear 40 to 45 for Null back when like it was like almost impossible. He was the only character that could do it at the time. But so I feel like it could be a thing like that. But yeah, authority's not super exciting, but those are the changes that I made there. Elena and Spectrum and possibly Quasar. I know some top alliances actually have Quasar. AC alliances have Quasar with an authority, and they sing her praises there. All right, let's move on here. Okay, so no changes with Greed, no changes with the egg. I just left it the same. Blue Marvel's still on there. I don't think you should give him an egg though, just because he is way better now than he was before. Right? He's got his tier 3. He's got the new uniform. Just don't give him an egg. Okay, now. Oh, and by the way, I don't have Patience or Transcendence on this list, and the reason that I don't is because I don't test these CTPs. Right, I can't give you my personal, feedback on it because I don't use them. I forged that one. Here, let me hide this here. I forged that one Transcendence, and I tested it on Molecule Man and Sentry. Thing is, Sentry can work with anything, so I can't recommend a Transcendence for the man. I think if you didn't have a regen, if you didn't have any other CTPs, yeah, sure, give him a Transcendence, and he's going to do some work for you because he can work with pretty much anything. Oh, and by the way, we have the 50% discount going on right now, so I thought, what time better than ever than to do this video here. And stick around for my list of characters that have fallen off that I think you could actually rip CTPs off of. Okay. So, yeah, nothing, like I said, nothing changed there. So now we're moving on to Mighty CTPs here. I'm going to give you my top picks for all the Mighty CTPs, right? We have Judgment, Energy, and then Regen. I'm not doing Transcendence. All right, so, I was just thinking about it, and what I'll do is I'll collect data. I'll collect information from other players, and I'll get you a list of Transcendence. Okay, I'll try to squeeze it in a video. Maybe I'll make a separate video just talking about Transcendence, because I feel like a lot of players just have those sitting in their inventory. So maybe I'll do something like that, but I'm not going to be talking about it in this video here. Okay, so yeah, so right here, Forge CTPs, I just started making a list of like a bunch of different characters that could take advantage of it. I didn't put any new characters in the Forge CTP list, but in terms of the other list here, I did add some characters here. And let's see. Okay, so for Judgment, it basically stayed the same. Actually, I added Ebony Maw to the bottom there. Oh, and by the way, I added Ebony Maw to the Insight list as well. Or I moved him up. I moved him up on the list because he's a really good... Oh, and you know what? Actually, you could put him down for Authority as well. He works really well with... and a Regen. You could put him down for both. Let me fix that. Boom, done. I just fixed. Actually, I added Ebony Maw to Regen, and I added him to Forge Regen. Also, Falcon. I didn't mention that Falcon is now added to Regen. Seems like he could work, yeah, really well with the Regen. I've seen him on timeline teams, and he does some work there. I don't suggest putting a Regen on him, but he's somebody who can work with the Regen if you're somebody who just absolutely loves PvP. So, with that being said, let's move on here. Okay, so Forge Judgment stayed the same. And Forge Energy here. So I put Falcon at number 2, and that's because of his World Boss Legend value there. If you're not as concerned about World Boss Legend and you'd like to do things like, one-shots and stuff like that, then other characters might be your choice, because Falcon, he needs to charge up that tier 3 in order, you know, for the big damage to come, because the accumulation is actually on his tier 3, and there's just a ton of hits, and there's just a lot of damage on it. And who else do we have on here? So I added Quasar below Null. Now some of this stuff, you know, I can get in the nitty gritty and test. I can't imagine that Quasar is going to you know, just do more damage than Null is going to do. But like I said, I tested her against Gambit, and she was better in Gambit. She was faster in Gambit. And like I said, Elena, she might be faster in Gambit. For Null, I know I could say for sure against Mephisto, she definitely is, just because of the speed, just because of the type difference. And I threw Iron Man on here as well, as opposed to the last list. I did not have Iron Man on here. All right, now Forge Regen. So Sentry's at the top. I have Blue Marvel coming in second. We got Molecule Man right down below him. And then, you know, Mephisto, again, PvE or PvP focus, that's on you. We have Luke Cage, Silver Surfer. You could probably swap those two, to be honest. I don't use Luke Cage as much. I don't know. I feel like the hype has died down a little bit on the Defenders, but I mean, the Defenders team in AC is a killer, but we all know Silver Surfer's PvP value. Speaking of which, I'm feeling pressure. I'm not feeling pressure, but I'm feeling anxious to test Silver Surfer out with a Mighty Energy, maybe even a Brilliant. I think he could do some serious work if I got really good with actually keeping the proc consistent with him. Okay, and then we have Hulk, Jean. I put Ebony Maw in here, as I mentioned, because he's very, very good. You guys see my timeline videos, and he comes in there and he just, like, he kills you. If you have somebody that doesn't have iframe ignore, he'll just continuously stay in iframe. He does like his 5 and his 4, and he's killed meta characters many times. And I threw Falcon right down below him, and I have Thanos at the very end there. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, I'm going to talk about all the characters who have just fallen off the meta, who, like I said, the CTP you've bestowed upon them, you can rip it off at a 50% discount at half off right now. And coming in at number 1, actually I didn't like number this list here, but the first person I have on the list is Doctor Strange. Now, Doctor Strange, he used to be meta, right? Not anymore, because he can only work with the Rage. That's the thing. If you work with Energy, I think he would be good. I think he would still be up there somewhere, but unfortunately he can't, and nobody uses him anymore. The only place I see him used is story mode, which isn't really a requirement for anything, and then Danger Room Extreme for popping the 5th skill, and you know, maybe some world boss stuff where you use him as the lead, pop the 5th skill, and then do like Torch Awakening skill. You know, you could do something like that, right, just to pass that buff. But that's pretty much it. You're not using him for damage. Okay, next up over here, I have Moon Knight. Now, Moon Knight, man, we know he's a tall glass of milk. But again, power creep is real, and he's falling off. So if you have an energy on him, I think there are many other characters that are more deserving, i.e. the CTP guide list that I have made up here. I mean, you could just go look through and, yeah, find energy and then pick any character that's pretty much above them, any of the characters that you like. All right, next up, who else do I got? Man, some people might throw a fit here, but I have Odin on this list. And yeah, I know, man, I know. And here's the thing, right? Just because you can only work with Rage, his value has decreased. But then you say, okay, well, if I give somebody else a Rage, and same goes for Doctor Strange as well. You basically want to seclude this to characters that you're going to use for ABX, like Venom, Loki, it's Scarlet Witch, pretty much any of those characters. Actually, do I have Scarlet Witch under Rage here? I might not have. Okay, I do have Wanda on here. Actually, Wanda could probably get placed higher on this list here. Oh man, I had a slight malfunction, but we're back in business here. Yeah, as I mentioned, Wanda could probably be moved up the list, because here's the thing with Wanda. She operates very, very well with a Rage for ABX. And, I mean, unless you wanted to use her for World Boss, then put a Judgment on her, and then just take the slight hit for ABX. But her high scoring potential is going to be with the Rage as opposed to a Brilliant Judgment. Like, she scores more with the Rage than she does with the Mighty Judgment. That's what I'm saying there. But if you wanted dual use, right? World Boss Legend and ABX, like a really nicely rolled Mighty Judgment, and you won't notice it all that much. Okay, next up here, we have Deadpool. Yeah, if you have like a PvE build on him or her, you could probably, take that off. Pure PvP at this point. For World Boss, Deadpool still has, it's still an easy peasy clear, but I feel like now that, now that we have Pierce, right, more and more accounts are gaining Pierce, you don't have as much trouble in World Boss. You don't need as much all defense down. You don't need to do these tricks anymore. It's kind of a walk in the park for the most part. All right, and after that character, I have Professor X. Professor X isn't bad, but, hey, it's power creep and it's real, and I've been mentioning it, and I'm not going to say it for every single character, but, I think there's other characters that are better deserving of whatever CTP you gave them. Next up, there might be some controversy over this as well, but I have Carnage here. Yeah, I did a full test. Rage to Mighty Energy swap, and man, he just did not impress me at all. I ripped all the Odin's Blessings. All those missing slots there, those were Odin's Blessings. Actually, I had 16 on him at one point. And yeah, I ripped him off because he's just not that good anymore. After Carnage, I have Black Bolt. Yep, falling off. I had a Mighty Energy on this guy. I just put a Rage on him just because I had a bunch of them, and I gave the energy to somebody else. And again, some controversy might aspire from this, but we have Thor. Thor, I really like Thor. Thor is actually one of my favorite characters in the comics and the MCU, but unfortunately, even with the Herald uniform, he's just, there's characters that, like I said, can do it better. Like if you only had, I don't know, a few judgments, Mephisto, Supergiant, Torch, and Rogue, those four right there are all going to be better deserving than Thor. But I'll never take mine off him just because I have a lot and I love Thor. And then next up, Thor's brother, man. Well, not his biological brother. Well, I guess Loki's not his biological brother either, but his brother in arms, Beta Ray Bill. Now, yeah, again, it's kind of sad to say, but yeah, Beta Ray Bill, he's just he doesn't pack as much of a punch as he used to, right? Like I've been saying, if you have a set amount of energies, right? Like giving it to a character like, I don't know, Call Obsidian or Falcon. There's so many other characters. I could just go down this list and pick a bunch of other characters that are just better deserving for that energy than Beta Ray Bill actually is. And then a couple other honorable mentions here. Characters that I think we probably don't have as much of a question in our heads whether or not they're deserving of the CTP, but I'll point them out anyways. We have Iron Fist and then Miss Medusa over here. Although I haven't tested her with energy, I think that time has already passed us for me to actually do that testing, because she might be much better with the energy. I know that she is. I'm really curious to see how much better she is on my account, but like I said, I think that time has gone and passed us by, and it's not going to bring any really useful information to the game. Nobody's going to go out of their way to say, oh my god, she's that much better. She's still going to be super far behind any other character, a lot of the newer characters in the game now. Sheesh, man, I didn't realize until I started recording and trying to talk about, just trying to put exactly what's going on with Rage and Pierce, right, and then Energy and Judgment, and then all the characters that use them into a box, and then to feed it to you guys while making this list and have it to be comprehensive at to a certain degree, and for it to actually make sense. It's kind of tough and it's difficult. So give me a break if some things kind of came out in a way that might seem a little strange. But I'm doing my best here, ladies and gentlemen. And keep in mind, all this is my opinion here. Somebody's list might be much different than mine. I I pretty much just try to give you guys, you know, just from my experience and my testing and the characters that I tend to use more. I might be favored more towards certain characters than others, but that's just me. Everybody's, you know, opinion is going to be different, but the facts still remain about certain characters that are just strong in the game, and I try to spit you the facts. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this helps you out. I hope this maybe helps you make some certain decisions, like, you know, if you have, like I said, if you have an energy on Beta Ray Bill and you don't have anything to give Falcon or Moonstone for that matter, or Cable or Proxima, then yeah, take that energy off them and give it to one of those characters, because it's going to serve you that much better. You know, same goes for Thor, as I mentioned. If you have a judgment on him but you don't have one on Torch or Rogue, you might want to make that swap. All right, or Supergiant or Mephisto, even better examples. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. If you liked the video and it helped you out, you know, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back with some more. So you better stay tuned. You stay breezy, but most of all, friend, you stay safe out there now. Peace.